Good day, everyone. I am Rainer Justus Reyes, BS in English 3. So, my topic is all about Chapter 11, Japanese occupation of the Moroland and its aftermath. So, before I start to my discussion, let's have the objectives first. What was the condition of the Moroland during the Japanese occupation? Number two, what were the people's reaction to the Japanese occupation? Number three, what was the impact of the Japanese occupation on the Moroland and its people? So let's start in the introduction. In 1941, the existence of the Commonwealth government would be interrupted by the outbreak of World War II. President Quezon and other key officials of the Commonwealth government would leave the Philippines for Australia and eventually for the United States. There, Quezon would continue serving as president of the de jure government, while a Japanese-sponsored republic is being set up headed by President Jose P. Laurel. So if you are to ask me what is de jure government, it is a legitimate government which is have not actual control of the state. So it must be recalled that the Japanese aim in World War II was to build an empire and expand into Asia. Japan's motivation for this Asian expansion was expressed in the slogan, Asia for the Asians. Such a slogan was actually generated by the observation that Asian countries were being colonized by various Western colonizers. So Japanese wants to build an empire not just in the Philippines but in the entire Asia. And they were guided by the motivation was expressed in slogan Asia for the Asian. So means Japanese wants that they were the only will colonize the Asian countries. So in Moroland, World War II would start with the Japanese invasion of Davao and Jolo. In December 1941, 4 months later, April 1942, Cotabato and Lanao would be also invaded. So, next is what was the condition of the Moroland during the Japanese occupation? The Japanese could have turned the table in their favor had they studied and understood the situation of the Moros and Lumads of the Mindanao and Sulu. They could have exploited more dissatisfaction with the Commonwealth government and the discriminatory laws it implemented to win more loyalty and cooperation to the Japanese side. So, the Japanese the Moro at that time, they were dismayed of what Commonwealth government did to them. Isa na diri ang discriminatory laws. So kana nga dissatisfaction pwede magamit sa mga Japanese aron easy access na lang sila sa pag-invade. However, Peter Going says, the Japanese occupation forces little understood the actual situation of the Moros in the Philippine nation and also failed to take advantage of Moro disaffections. Instead, they treated Moro much the same as the rest of the Philippine population. So the Japanese failed to take advantage because they were not really know what was the condition of the Moro at the time. So, gi-treat nila ang Moro gitreat nila ang Moro as same as the rest of the Philippine population. So the Japanese occupation was infamous for overacted martial cruelty and ruthlessness by the Japanese invading forces. On the other hand, however, the Japanese advent was somewhat a blessing in disguise because it welded Muslim Christians relations together. For instance, a study conducted in 1985 concluded that in Lanao, the Japanese occupation period exemplified the best moment of Muslim Christians cooperation and unity. So during the invasion of the Japanese is like a worst nightmare. Grabe ka cruel ang nahitabo. Grabe suffering ang mga tao at that time. So pero na siya good impact na builds about the relationship of Muslims and Christians. So as stated here, it welded Muslims Christians relation. So we all know that according to the previous reporters, the Muslims and Christians have somewhat misunderstanding. So according to the study in 1985, it exemplified the best moment of Muslim Christians cooperations and unity. So after that, the Moro was eager to serve the United States Armed Forces, and when guerrilla build, they was joined in that unit. So in Cotabato, guerrilla forces were organized by Dato Salipada Pindatun and his brother-in-law, Dato Udtog Matalam. They were made up of both Muslims and Christians and controlled the vast interior parts of the province. As in Cotabato, the Lanao guerrillas were both Muslims and Christians. So may na-build nga relationship between Moro and Christians. So ang Moro wala nag-hesitate nga mo join sa guerrilla forces. So kabalutan nga kusog man jud ka kana mga isog man jud ang mga Moro. So nagamit ni para ma-defend ang ang pag-invade sa Japanese. So actually, the Japanese occupation of the Moroland was limited to the coastal towns. Their troops had few interior garrisons scattered along the highways. The guerrillas controlled the vast interior of Mindanao and outlying islands, especially in Tawi-Tawi, Cotabato, and Lanao. So when the guerrilla forces built, the power of the Moroland became vast and they controlled the interior part of the province. And also, it stated that Japanese power was limited only in the coastal towns. So gamay kayo ang mga troops sa mga Japanese while ang mga guerrilla forces controlled the vast interior of Mindanao. So it's clear nga grabe ka power ang mga Moroland at that time, mga Moro people at that time. And also with the combination of the Christians, so grabe lang motivations to defend ang ilang land. So in Sulu, the guerrillas also set up rudimentary government that provided supplies and printed emergency money, except the garrison town of Hulo. The island's interior and many islands in the Tawi-Tawi were under the effective control of the Sulu guerrillas. So nag-spread nag-ayo ang guerrillas forces. So even in Sulu, ana sila controlled and also in Tawi-Tawi. Strong Sulu resistance had made the Japanese unable to move freely beyond its garrison in strategic sites, not only because they were unfamiliar with the terrain, but also because the guerrillas continued to attack them with a hit-and-run tactics in the early part of the Japanese occupation. 129 Japanese soldiers were slain in an ambush by Maranao guerrillas at Tamparan, Lanao. In retaliation, the Japanese bombed Tamparan and the surrounding areas for the straight days. So in here, the Japanese occupation became unsuccessful because the Sulu resistance have enough power and effective control to the Japanese. So as stated here, 129 Japanese soldiers were slain in ambush by Maranao guerrillas at Tamparan. So it means that it is clear nga nagkahinay-hinay yung kapildi ang mga Japanese tungod sa nahitabo nga relationship between Muslims and Christians. So terms, the guerrilla forces, it is a small group of combatants with armed civilian and made up of both Muslims and Christians volunteer. And Kisa described the extreme suffering of the Sulu fighters. And also Tapikans, it is a bitter fruit ate by the guerrillas. And that's all for my report. Thank you and God bless everyone.